Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Islam and my colleague Muaz who are here to explain the atrium. It's an adaptive use building for one of the oldest postal buildings in Egypt. Just a quick note that the postal system in Egypt is one of the post systems, and not even in the region, but I think worldwide. And they have a lot of land banks. And the opportunity I think that we have with the client, that really instead of demolishing the buildings or building a new building, is how to rethink using an existing building. So I will get you through the journey. I think the what we really it was fun during designing this project. It was the process of it, because we are dealing with a project that was being built in the 20s, and less of information that we have. And before we are using it, it was a matter of how to document this. So I will get with you through the process of doing it. So this is the location. It is in the very heart of Cairo. And as we all know that Cairo is a very busy city, and the urban grain and fabric really doesn't allow much to new buildings to become. It has enough already. So I think one of the main purpose how to utilize the building, plus how the building will add a new life for the community around it. So this is more closer look. As you'll see here, we've been lucky that the same client with the Egyptian Post, they already have an adjacent building, and they do the renovation of it. Then they will get the employees from our building and put it on the other building. So currently now our building is empty and we are ready for the construction. I think the construction will start from next month. So what we did, the first exercise, actually it was visiting the site and we documenting the current situation. It's very important to document how we receive the building on the status quo from each angle, and also understanding what's happening around the building. It was something really important. It's not only about the architecture, but I think it's about the activities happening around it, because this is what will inform the program that it be accommodated inside the building. This is from inside. It was really fascinating to understand that how the people utilize the building on the current situation. The building originally has an atrium, but because of the demand, they started to fill this atrium year after year. So, and this is when we discovered this when we visited the buildings. Just by chance, we found that there is a wooden space truss on the top, which is it's supposed to be like an open heart of the project, but it being closed through the time. So this is the current situation of the section now. And one of the things that we really get through the process is to understand the architecture DNA of the building and the period that been built, because this really it will inform a lot what our intervention inside the building and also outside. So because of the less of the information that we had, we started to go to the like usual and unusual things. We started to dig for the old maps that we can find, any legacy pictures. But the most important also, we went to the black and white movies, on this area, try to understand more, because it was one of the significant on that time. As you see here, this is one of the famous movies we during the black and white time. Then we try to understand also how the project was being used through the time, because it keep changes from use to a different use till it reached to the Egyptian Post. Then I will leave you with Mars.
So the building actually is kind of acting as an urban magnet. I think the location of the building, as Islam mentioned, it is in the middle of a huge market, and the demand for having different categories for the use of the building is very important. So it's more like a social and commercial magnet. That's what we think about the project. We have from a street vendor level up to a small offices needs, up to maybe a headquarter for businessmen who are working around the area. Plus, the street vendors actually by time they started to have small kiosks that blended with the building in a way, so and kind of melting with the building. So we didn't think about the building and have design for the building by itself. No, also we thought about the roads around it. So we started to change some of the roads to a shared roads. Some of the roads we totally made it pedestrian to have small kiosks and try to find a solution for them. So as you can see here, that was the first question mark. What are we going to do for that building? So I think thinking about the atrium and bringing it back to its origin was one of the main points, especially the buried space terrace that we saw inside the building. And then we started to have the discussion with the client about adding more and more items that can make the building live. I think one of the significant uses the restaurant that we put on the top of the building, so you can overview the entire old city center of Cairo. This is a very quick diagram that shows the program. So we have the atrium in the middle, and around the atrium we have all the co-working spaces, small offices overlooking into that atrium. And then the other side, where we decided to have the office headquarters, we have larger spaces where we can use it. So whoever want to take the entire building, they can connect it together. If they want to take a separate, so we try to be very flexible with the use, so it can help the client later. Again, looking into different options, iterations, and then we found the best one is just to go back to the origin and start to get. So this is the equation that we started. So by subtracting all the additional elements that happened during the last few years and just bringing it to origin, and then we try to renovate it in a nice way more. And the look actually of the building. If I talk about the structural system here, there is a wall bearing system. There is also kind of steel structure around the atrium. So the atrium getting this kind of feeling of industrial look. So we returned it back like this, and then the other one started to get a different look. And then during the design process and trying to get all the models, this is showing all the plans, the as-built plans, the demolition. So all the thin walls that you see here in the middle, this is additional walls. We started to be very flexible with those one, but the thick walls, the wall-bearing wall, we kept it as it is, and we started to create the atrium in the middle. I think we'll see all of this better in the diagrams later, so we can see the plans. We'll just jump quickly through. So this is one of the diagrams that shows the ground floor. Also, we added few facilities for the co-working spaces like meeting rooms, spaces for gathering, small coffee shops. So, and the ground floor is kind of blending with what's happening outside. So it became like kind of exhibition center where they can exhibit all the items that they have from the market. They can even take the entire exhibition for maybe changing seasonably. So this could be also one of the things that we can do inside the building. And just to get a more natural light inside the space, we started to get a small skylight there just to bring light inside the space as well. And this we'll see in the visuals in the next stage, and Islam will take you in the next steps.
I think one of the important statements here around the building, we all know what's happening in Egypt now, the building, the new Cairo, the capital Cairo. I think it's always the choice between remove or improve. I think, the old Cairo, it deserves a bit of love from our side. And I think this will be one of our discussions on 4:30 o'clock with Focus in Egypt with Jonathan Glass. But again, continuing about the discussion here, like as you see how we envision the building, it's about creating life to the neighborhood. It's not only about just doing a nice piece of architecture. I think, in my opinion, architecture should be more value than this. About how we're bringing the new blood to an existing, or like an acupuncture inside this dense fabric of old Cairo. And as a part of the Egyptian culture, we have this kind of nightlife, especially in Cairo. So I think by having the roof, but activated roof, because it's anyway, this roof, it was populated by mechanical rooms and this kind of stuff. By having a new position for a nightlife, I think this something is really important because it's bring a double value for the building. So this is how it looks inside the context. And from inside, actually, this is what Muaz touched point. We are trying to create this kind of juxtapose between the outside and inside. And also we refer back to the built buildings during this time, the 20s. We have the train station of Cairo. It was similar. So we are trying really to be honest about how we present the time of the 2022, but also understanding how the masonry work, how the steel structure been done on this period. So this is the atrium. By having also the skylight, as Muaz mentioned, I think it brings a lot. And the idea of the atrium is to be dynamic. From each floor, you have a different experience. It's like an elevated walkway. And I think this is Cairo, like it represents this idea of the misfit of life of Cairo, bringing it inside. So the people not feel, we are not in the Swiss, the people feel that they are already inhabit the atrium in a very freely manner. Plus, we started also to open the ground floor to the outside. So it has this kind of dual code, inside and outside juxtaposed. And for the private use, like the headquarters or any different kind of use of the offices, we make it a bit different to differentiate between the synergy between the semi-public and the semi-private. Our intervention for the exterior, it was very minimal because we need to keep the building in a good shape as it is, because the building is not in a bad shape actually. And this is how it looks. And this is the rooftop. Actually, we are trying also to differentiate between what built in the past and what we build doing now, so to keep the time space gap to be clear for everyone, not confusing. And the next part, actually, after we did this, also it was a really good ask from the client to rethink the area around. So this is actually one of the areas that happening there. As you see here, the market, this is happening informally there, but we feel that in this inside, we call it a structured chaos. In this inside informal, there is also a sense of formality. So this is what we are trying to think to rethink the area around the project by really create this informal market, but in a more structured way. And I think the good thing that we can end this project actually is to see how the project, because we are lucky that the client owned the two buildings beside us. So by creating this kind of shaded roofs, the building, it's transformed from an architectural building to a community hub. Thank you so much.